In this video, you're going to learn how to rapidly lower your blood pressure. And stick around to the end because we're going to cover the root cause of high blood pressure, because it's not enough to rapidly lower it. You want to keep it that way for as long as possible. So the first thing when it comes to rapidly lowering blood pressure are breathing techniques. And there's many different types of breathing techniques. Today I'm going to discuss the 4-7-8 breathing method. And this is where you inhale through the nose for 4 seconds. Then you will hold your breath for 7 seconds and then exhale for 8 seconds. It's very simple. When you do it that way, a number of things happen. The first thing that happens is it causes a relaxation response. And this very often plays a role in your heart rate and the strength of your heart rate. And when you do this type of breathing, it's so calming that you will check your own pulse and you will notice that your pulse goes down. So in other words, your heart is beating less per minute, which is a good thing. It stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is that part of the nervous system that controls a lot of things, but most importantly in this particular case, the pliability of the arteries. There's a neurological control to that. The other thing is that when you inhale through the nose, your body produces a gas called nitric oxide, and this gas further enhances the pliability of the arteries. So what you do is you do this style of breathing once or twice a day, and you can check your blood pressure before and after the breathing. And there is research to show that this will help you lower your blood pressure. However, if you go about another stressful part of your day, of course, the blood pressure goes up, but then you can do it at nighttime, further learning how to control your stress levels and your blood pressure. In addition to that, if you practice this over a long period of time, it can potentially have long-term benefits. The second way to rapidly lower your blood pressure is isometric exercise. Now, isometric exercise is a type of exercise where there's no movement of the body. So if you grab something and you squeeze it really hard, or you do a wall sit, sometimes you'll see people up against a wall just sitting there, or a plank, for example. There's been tremendous amount of research to show that isometric exercise rapidly lowers your blood pressure. But interestingly enough, these types of exercise over a period of time, like 12 weeks, can significantly lower blood pressure overall. So there's a short-term benefit as well as a long-term benefit. Like most things in life, there are immediate effects, but if those things that you're doing that cause immediate effects are done repeatedly over time, they can have long-term effects. The way I explain it with patients is brushing your teeth really doesn't do a whole lot in the beginning, because if you only brush your teeth once, the benefit of clean teeth only lasts until the next meal. But if you brush your teeth on a regular basis, it can have long-term effects on your dental hygiene. The same thing with isometric exercise and breathing techniques. Sure, they rapidly lower your blood pressure, so in the case of a blood pressure crisis, you could lower your blood pressure fairly rapidly. However, practiced over time, they can have long-term benefit. Now let's cover for what most people is the root cause of high blood pressure. Now there are some people that have tumors of their thyroid or adrenal gland tumors or other things. We're not talking about those things. We're talking about, for most people, the root cause of high blood pressure is metabolic syndrome. And this is a syndrome that includes when a person is obese, they have high triglycerides, they have low HDLs but high LDLs. They very often have high blood sugar and high insulin. And this is a syndrome that encompasses all of those things. So it's not just one thing. Very often it's a result of the food that we eat over a period of time. It's impossible to develop metabolic syndrome in a week or two. This is something that develops over time. So reversing metabolic syndrome also takes a period of time. Now, how does one do that? The answer is, believe it or not, it does not require extreme exercise, and it does not require extreme diets where you eliminate entire food groups. But what you have to understand is that when you eat foods, if there's an imbalance between the ratios of protein to fat to carbohydrate, so for example, if you were to eat a food that was 100% carbohydrate and had no protein in it and no fats in it, then it might raise your blood sugar really high. And as a result, your pancreas then secretes insulin to try to combat that high blood sugar. So your body is constantly fighting high blood sugar back and forth over a period of potentially decades. But if you were to eat foods that had carbohydrates in them and it was well balanced with protein and fat, the protein and fat slow down the absorption of the carbohydrate. In addition to that, it's the type of carbohydrate. So if you're eating highly processed foods and sugary foods that don't have a lot of fiber, then that's going to raise your blood sugar fairly high. But if you're eating carbohydrates in the form of fruits and vegetables, and then you have protein and fat with it, the fiber in the vegetables and the fruit will slow the absorption of sugar. And when that happens, then your blood sugar does not spike, which means your pancreas does not have to secrete as much insulin. And the cells that want that energy from the carbohydrate are more receptive to the insulin. And as time goes on, your body heals. Now, in just a moment, I'm going to give you a sample meal that you can replicate and use for yourself and see if it's something that would work for you that encompasses all that I just said. But before we do that, let me tell you that sometimes it's difficult to get enough of certain micronutrients that are necessary to contribute to our health. And this is one of them. This is called Magnesium Breakthrough. See that? I love this product. It's from a company called Bioptimizers, and they have a number of different products. But the magnesium in particular is something that's very difficult to get enough of. And the reason why is because we just don't eat enough vegetables as a general rule. The vegetables that we eat are usually not organic, so they're not as nutrient dense as they should be. The soil that food is grown in is not as nutrient dense. And sometimes it's just difficult to eat enough food to get even the daily requirements. And so what I do is I take 2 tablets at nighttime after my last meal. And one of the benefits of magnesium is it has an ability to cause the parasympathetic nervous system to be more functional. And so therefore it helps you sleep, it helps you digest food much better. There's many different types of magnesium in this, and I'll put a link down below if you'd like to look and see if this product is right for you.